Want to be counted?
They've been assigned. Achat shalti met Adonai otav akesh. Achat shalti met Adonai otav akesh. Shivti b'beit Adonai kol yamei chayai lachazot b'noam Adonai uvaker b'chalo lachazot b'noam Adonai uvaker b'chalo. Welcome, welcome, everyone who is here, everyone who is arriving splendidly on Jewish time, and everyone who is joining us online. We are glad you're here. If we haven't met, my name is Laura Smith, and I am filling in tonight for the Shabbat Shuvah service while the rabbis take a much-needed break from our High Holy Day observances. As always, if you're here with us tonight, we are praying out of Mishkan Tefillah, or if you are online, you can download our virtual Siddur at templesinaiReno.org/live.
Laura, can I make you a little louder?
Probably.
I think you need a little louder.
Okay. More juice. Testing. It is my absolute honor to call up to kindle our Sabbath lights, Barton Barrow. While he's coming up from our machzor, the first mitzvah in the Torah is let there be light. So we are commanded in everything you do, be a menorah, a bringer of light, live with honor, act with integrity, do your work with passion, and the radiance of your deeds will live after you. May our ideals burn bright, forever unextinguished, and may we live our lives like the flames we kindle, always stretching upward, striving for the good, reaching for you. Our blessing for candles can be found on page 2.
Light them up. Baruch Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivonu lehadlik ner shel Shabbat.
Thank you. We continue on page 10 with Maya Fe Hayom. Maya Fe Hayom, Shabbat Shalom. Maya Fe Hayom, Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom. How wonderful it is to be together, to be in community, and to share our voices together. We turn to page 12 to begin our reading of our Shabbat Psalms. We will dip into all of them at least a little bit from page 12 until Lechadodi on page 20. So if you aren't seeing the words on one page, just go on to the next and we will all join together one way or the other on page 20 for Lechadodi. As is our custom, when we get there, we will sing verses 1, 2, 5, and 9 for the final verse. If you are able, please do rise and turn to the back doors to welcome in our Shabbat bride. Page 12. Lechu nera nera, yai 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 yai, Adonai, yada yai 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 yai, Nahariya, yai 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 yai. Letzur hishenu, yadadai, dai, 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 nekad mafanav betoda, betoda, bizmiro narialo, narialo. Lechu nera nena, yai dai 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 dai, la Adonai, yada dai 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 dai, Nahariya, yai dai 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 dai. Letzur hishenu, yadadai, dai, 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 ki el gadol Adonai, Adonai, umelech gadol kol Elohim, Elohim. Lechu nera nena, yai dai 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 dai, la Adonai, yada dai 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 dai, yada dai 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 dai, yada dai 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 dai. Shiru Adonai, Shir Chadash, Shiru Adonai, Kol Haaretz, Shiru Adonai, Baruchu Shemo, Vazru miyom le'om Yeshuato, Sapru b'goyim kevodo, Bechol ha'amim niflotav, yai dai 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 dai, yai dai 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 dai, yai dai 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 dai, ki gadol Adonai umehu lamehod, norahu al kol Elohim, ki kol Elohe ha'amim elilim, v'Adonai shamayim asa hon v'hadar lefanav, uz v'tiferet b'mikdashav, yai dai 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 yai dai dai dai, yai dai dai yai dai 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 dai, yai dai dai dai. Or zarua latzadi, uyishrelev simcha. Or zarua latzadi, uyishrelev simcha. Or zarua latzadi, uyishrelev simcha, uyishrelev simcha. Or zarua latzadi, uyishrelev simcha, uyishrelev simcha. Lifnei Adonai kiva lishpot haaretz, yishpot tevel betzedek ve'amim ve'mesharim. Romenu Adonai Eloheinu ve'hishtachavnu le'har kodsho. Romenu Adonai Eloheinu ve'hishtachavnu le'har kodsho. Ki kadosh Adonai Eloheinu Romenu. Ki kadosh Adonai Eloheinu Romenu. Romenu Adonai Eloheinu ve'hishtachavnu le'har kodsho. Romenu Adonai Eloheinu ve'hishtachavnu le'har kodsho. Page 18. Mizmor leDavid, havu Adonai b'nei Elim, havu Adonai kavod va'oz, havu l'Adonai kevod shemo, yishachavu l'Adonai behadrat kodesh kol Adonai Almighty el hakavod ha'irim Adonai Almighty Rabim kol Adonai Ba'koach kol Adonai behadar kol Adonai shoer arazim v'shaber Adonai eretze halvanon v'yar kirehem kemo Lebanon v'Sirion kemo ben remim kol Adonai chotze v'avotesh kol Adonai yachil midbar yachil Adonai midbar kadesh kol Adonai yechol elai avot v'yechesof ye'arot v'yechalo kulo omer kavod Adonai lama bu yashav v'yishev Adonai melech leolam Adonai od le'amo yiten Adonai yevarech et amo v'shalom. We are now on page 20. We will sing verses 1, 2, 5, and 9. If and you are willing to able, you are welcome to rise on our final verse to face our Shabbat bride. Boli kala, boli kala. Lecha dodi likrat kala, yadarai, 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 ne Shabbat, ne Kabbalat. Lecha dodi likrat kala, yadarai, 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 ne Shabbat, ne Kabbalat. Shamor ve'zachor ve'dibur echad, Ishmi'anu el ha'meyuchad, Adonai echad, Ushmo echad, לשם ותפארת ולתהילה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, ידדי ידדי ידדי, פני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, ידדי ידדי ידדי, פני שבת נקבלה. לקראת שבת לכו ונלכה, כי היא מקור הברכה. מראש מקדם נסוכה, סוף מעשה במחשבה תחילה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, ידדי ידדי ידדי, פני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, ידדי ידדי ידדי, פני שבת נקבלה. התעוררי, התעוררי, כי בעורק קומי אורי. אורי אורי שיר דברי, כבוד אדוני עלייך נגלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, ידדי ידדי ידדי, פני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, ידדי ידדי ידדי, פני שבת נקבלה. בואי ושלום עטרת בעלה, גם בשמחה ובצור עולה. תוך אמוני הסגולה, בואי כלה, בואי כלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, ידדי ידדי ידדי, פני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, ידדי ידדי ידדי, פני שבת נקבלה. You may be seated. We continue on page 22. Sadik katamar yifrak lifrak, sadik katamar yifrak, sadik katamar yifrak yifrak, sadik katamar yifrak. Keres balanon yiske, keres balanon yiske, keres balanon yiske, yiske. Keres balanon yiske, keres balanon yiske, keres balanon yiske, yiske. We should sorry skip that one because it's right after Lecha Dodi. Hatzi Kaddish can be found on page 26. Yitkada, yitkada, Shemei Rabbah. Belmadi brach Yerute, Yamlik Malchute, B'chayechon, Yul Yom Echon, U'chayedecho Bet Israel, Ba'agala u'bizman Karev, V'yamru, Amen. Yehi Shemei Rabbah Mevorah, Le'olam u'amei Omaya Yitzvah. vayishavak vayitpar vayitramam vayitnaseh vayitadar vayitaleh vayitalal shamed kadisha barihu leila minko birchata v'shirata tushmichata v'nechemata Damiran V'yamaya V'yameru Amen. We read at the bottom of page 27 together. Entrances to holiness are everywhere. The possibility of ascent is all the time, even at unlikely times and through unlikely places. There is no place on earth without the present. The possibility of ascent is all the time. May we never be too busy or too isolated to hear it. The blessings for the Shema begin on page 28. If you are able, please rise. Ahavat Olam can be found on page 32. Ahavat Olam, Beit Yisrael, Amcha Avta, Torah u'mitzvot, chukim u'mishpatim, otanu limadeta, Alkin Adonai Eloheinu b'shofteinu, u'kumeinu nasiach b'chukecha, v'nismach b'divrei Toratecha, u'mitzvotecha le'olam va'ed. Ki hem chayenu, ve'orach yameinu, u'vahem negei omam v'layla, negei omam v'layla, ve'ahavatcha al tasir, mimenu le'olamim. Baruch atah Adonai, Ohev Amo Yisrael, Ohev Amo Yisrael. Shema can be found on page 34. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Kevod Malchuto Le'olam va'ed. You may be seated. We continue on page 36. ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודך. והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבבך ושיננתם לבניך ודיברתם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך וקשרתם מאוד על ידך והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובישעריך למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים להיות לכם אלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אדוני אלוהיכם אמת. We read together at the top of page 39. Standing on the parted shores of history, we still believe what we were taught before we ever stood at Sinai's foot, that wherever we go, it is eternally Egypt, that there is a better place, a promised land, that the winding way to that promise passes through the wilderness, that there is no way to get from here to there except by joining hands, marching together. Mi chamocha can be found on page 40. Mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi chamocha nidar b'kodesh, Nora tegilot osefet malchutecha ra'umanecha ukei ayam lifnei Moshe ze'elianu v'yameru Adonai imloch le'olam va'ed. The guardian of Israel never slumbers nor sleeps. By day the sun will not strike you, nor the moon by night. Adonai will guard your going and coming now and forevermore. We read together at the bottom of page 42. Grant, O God, that we lie down in peace and raise us up, our guardian, to life renewed. Spread over us the shelter of your peace. Guide us with your good counsel. For your name's sake, be our help. Shield and shelter us beneath the shadow of your wings. Defend us against enemies, illness, war, famine, and sorrow. Distance us from wrongdoing. For you, God, watch over us and deliver us. For you, God, are gracious and merciful. Guard our going and coming to life and to peace evermore. Baruch atah Adonai, Hapores Sukkot Shalom Aleinu ve'al kol Amo Yisrael ve'al Yerushalayim. We are kept, and in return, we keep Shabbat in joy. Yismechu can be found on page 44. Yismechu le'malechutecha, shomrei, 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 Shabbat Bekore, Oneg Shabbat Yismechu, V'malechutecha, Shomrei, Shomrei, Shomrei Shabbat Bekore, Oneg Shabbat. Mekadeshe Shvi Shabbat, Kulam Yismehu, V'yitamru mituvechu Shabbat Yismechu, V'malechutecha, Shomrei, Shomrei, Shomrei Shabbat Bekore, Oneg Shabbat Yismechu, V'malechutecha, Shomrei, Shomrei, Shomrei Shabbat Bekore, Oneg Shabbat, V'hashvi Ratzitavo Bekirash tu Shabbat, Chemdad Yamim, Ota Karata Shabbat Yismechu, V'malechutecha, Shomrei, Shomrei, Shomrei Shabbat Bekore, Oneg Shabbat Yismechu, V'malechutecha, Shomrei, Shomrei, Shomrei Shabbat Bekore, Oneg Shabbat. Zecher L'maaseh Bereshit Shabbat, Zecher L'maaseh Bereshit Shabbat, Ahad Yismechu, V'malechutecha, Shomrei, Shomrei, Shomrei Shabbat Bekore, Oneg Shabbat Yismechu, V'malechutecha, Shomrei, Shomrei, Shomrei Shabbat Bekore, Oneg Shabbat. I know everyone's Jewish joy looks different, but that was awesome. That was one of mine. As we enter into the Amidah on page 46, please stand in body or spirit as you are able. As always, when we are done reading communally, you may continue reading until page 62, or sit whenever your meditation is complete. Don't let the holiday inserts throw you off too much. Adonai, open up my lips, that my mouth may declare your praise. Adonai, Eloheinu, Eloheinu, Elohei Abraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah, oh, that's really high. Oh, say shalom, shalom, Nimromar. Hallelujah, say shalom, Aleinu. Le'achol Yisrael. Imru, Amen. Le'achol Yisrael. Amen. At this point, Temple Sinai tradition holds that we would have a Torah service, but tonight we are just going to talk Torah rather than bringing our scrolls out. We know, however, that across our time zones, scrolls are open up and down the hemispheres, and with those out, let us ask for healing for those in need. Tonight especially, we are thinking of Ruth Irene Ackroyd, Kevin Ashton, Kathy Bartlett, Tracy Bartlett, Batia Tali, Harav Binyamin Ben Yaakov Vibracha, Gary Cecil, Laura Cohen, Oritzir Cohen, Megan Carney Cranmer, Nancy Dawes, Stephen Gould, Margie Garrett, Marlene Harris, Pam Hendricks, Karen Hertzberg, Letitia Kruger, Griffin Lewis Fetchko, Molly Rose Lewis, John Lutzker, Jason Matthews, Harav Miriam Yael Chaya Batsara, Vivian Morgan, Tim Ober, Claire Petersky, Carol Pevney, Jackson Morgan Ramirez, Michelle Ramirez, the entire Ramirez Morgan family, Judy Ramos, Sarah Batlava, Harav Sarah Bat Yisrael Vishoshana, Chaya Schwartz, Shana Bracha Bat Esther Malka, Michael Ben Nachama, Chris Stanton, Petra Suber, Teresa Sussman, David Wagner, Vanessa Wagner, Stephen Weidman, Bobby Wells, Usher Zalech, for Israel and all in the region, for peace, for healing, and for remembrance, for all of the innocent lives affected in this war, for all the military and aid personnel assisting in the war in Gaza, for everyone affected by coronavirus and long COVID, and for the Jewish and other communities of Ukraine. If there are other names that you would like to raise up, please drop in the chat online so we can hear and support you. If you are here with us tonight, please raise your names as my hand reaches yours.
Marcus Luke and Jenna Collins. Matty Mayer.
Bobby Udall, Jean Barrett. Aurora Esther.
For all of those and those who remain in our hearts, we wish for endless healing. We turn to page 253 and sing together our song for healing. Misha Behera Avotenu Mekor HaBracha Leimotenu. May the source of strength, who bless those before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen. Misha Be'erach Imotenu Mekor HaBracha Le'avotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah Shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen. Our blessing for the study of Torah can be found on page 86. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu la'asok b'divrei Torah. Shabbat Shuvah means Shabbat of return. I don't think that refers to coming back once again to shul right after you were just here. But in any case, we all have This is often one of our least attended services of the year, and the rabbis often need a break, so sometimes I end up leading this one. You're welcome. I assumed when I sat down that I would still have notes from last year to draw upon, but it turns out that because of how the two calendars of holidays and Torah readings intersect, that sometimes Shabbat Shuvah involves Parshat Vayelech, and some years it is Parshat Hazinu. This year is one of the latter. In either case, we are very near the end of the Torah and of Moshe's life. In Vayelech, Moshe encourages the people and Joshua, who will lead them into the promised land. He exhorts them, be strong, be courageous, do not be overawed, do not be terrified before the inhabitants. For Adonai goes with you, he will not let go of you, he will not abandon you. But privately, God speaks to Moshe about the coming betrayal Israel will commit, whoring after the gods of the foreigners, that they will experience many ills, and that the people will blame those ills on the absence of God. And God says, indeed, I know the plans that they are making today, even before I bring them into the land. How does this declaration land in this week where we contemplate our personal and collective failings over the last year? What is being written and what sealed if God knows beforehand not only who by fire, but also what the people will do in the future to deserve it? We will hold on to this thought for a moment. Adonai asks Moshe to write down a song, to teach it to the children of Israel, and when this inexorable crisis of faith happens, this song, which will have lived in the mouths of the people and their descendants, this song will speak up before their presence as a witness. Parashat Hazinu is this song, which Moshe will sing before the people with heaven and earth as eternal witnesses that the warning was shared with everyone. The song begins, give ear, O heavens, that I may speak. Hear, O earth, the utterance of my mouth. Let my teaching drip like rain. Let my words flow like dew, like droplets on new growth, like showers on grass. For the name of the Lord I proclaim, give greatness to our God. And Moshe sings of the steadiness and integrity of God, whole and perfect, equitable, upright, and of Israel, a generation crooked and twisted. He sings of the terrible consequences God promises to inflict on them when they stray, flaming arrows and poisoned serpents, attacks from enemies of all kinds. And eventually, when the people have been beat down so low that their neighbors begin to wonder if their God actually cares about them, the sweeping return of divine favor and the smiting of enemies. Dennis Olson summarizes this not as a changing of God's mind, but applying a single principle. When Israel forgets God, God sends its enemies to exact a price. When those enemies in turn forget God, they too suffer greatly. So at least three things travel with us. God's knowledge that we will stray, the song in our mouths that spells out the consequences and eventual forgiveness, and our eternal witnesses that we were warned. The question, as ever, is how much influence do we have in what happens? For my reading this year, the most damning piece is the matter of calling heaven and earth to be witness to the warning. Why call eternal witnesses to a one-time affair? Not only were we reluctant to leave Egypt, not only immediately worshiping other gods, not only griping in the desert about the banality of miraculous manna, not only assimilating everywhere we landed, now also this prediction of future betrayal. In our Haftarah this week, Hosea 14, this cycle repeats again, and how many other times besides, as Jewish time telescopes in on itself. We live out the cycle of straying and return every year, vicariously through our reading and viscerally in our own lives. We are none of us exempt. Even Moshe, who is narrating this to us, is being held back, denied the land for his arrogance at Meribah. We seem as individuals and a collective unit to be incapable of staying humble and devoted. Our will here seems to be either ineffective or lacking altogether. But God sees all the times we have strayed before and all the times we will in the future, and never leaves. This is puzzling enough just considering these two actors, but of course there are all the other peoples of the earth. This song is one of the clear places where we see the blurry edges of monolactricism, the recognition of other gods. It says, when the Most High gave nations their inheritance at his dividing of the human race, he stationed boundaries for people by the number of the gods. Indeed, the portion of Adonai became his people Yaakov. In other words, God decides which people serve which God, and he chose this subset. It seems perfectly reasonable that God should be able to make new assignments, and yet we remain mutually connected, always watched, and always witnessed. Is this comforting that we will never be left, or threatening that we will never be left alone, free to make our own choices? Rabbi Shai Held, in his discussion of Psalms, talks about the psalmist's individual and ambiguous relationship with a powerful God, a God who knows everything you do, everything you might think even before you do, and that has promised salvation and calamity with nothing in between. The psalmist is desperate at times. Where shall I go? Whither shall I flee? There is no place on earth you are not. Over the course of Psalm 139, he seems to make peace with this fact through an appreciation of God's intimacy with him from the time he was in the womb. For Held and the sources he pulls from, returning to that almost memory of being lovingly observed as a blameless, will-less creature, recontextualizes the current relationship with God. Perhaps instead of being hemmed in front and behind, he can feel protected. Instead of swatted down, lovingly corrected. Instead of scrutinized and judged, guided and led. In Hazinu, Israel is still in that place of womb-like softness. God loved the forebears of Israel, but encountered them as fully formed adults. There is something deeply special about getting to start right from the beginning together. In the song, God characterizes their relationship as between an infant and the rock that labored to produce you. He suckled them with honey from a boulder, with oil from a flinty rock. Perhaps collectively in this week, where we come to face over and over again with what we imagine to be God's judgments of our failings, it might help us to remember that watchfulness is not only an expression of criticism, but of care, concern, even fascination and delight. And it feels like a stretch in this 52-verse song, but this year what jumps out to me is that along with the milk and honey and oil, and lamb's meat, there is one line where God remembers God's self as nurturing us with the kidney fat of wheat and the blood of grapes. In Leviticus, the fat around the kidneys, or chaylev, is burned as offering, and blood is saved to be dashed against the altar. Neither are meant for human consumption, either because of their prizedness to Adonai, or as protection against the potency of these life forces. Rabbi Michael Rosenberg of Hebrew College ventures that these bodily elements are both unable to move on their own and that they serve and protect the rest of the body. He likens their role to standing in the breach to protect the vulnerable, and as such, they deserve the utmost respect and care, and indeed are the most valuable to God. There is something beautiful about the image of us making our offerings of blood and chaylev to recommit ourselves to the relationship, and God making an analogous offering back in wheat and grapes, provision and sustenance. One of the characteristics of Hazinu is the overwhelming use of metaphor. God is guardian, angel, rock, protector, parent, lover, judge, and avenger. This kaleidoscope reminds us that God is undefinable and in many ways unknowable, but the offering of chalev and blood in reciprocity to us, I hope, speaks to one aspect of our relationship. These are the representation of generative energy, of something at once precious and vigorous. We may not be able to fully escape the cycle of straying. I think it is entirely possible that God not only predicts our straying, but initiates it. But we are also given the strength and vitality to make our way back. Our haftarah for the week ends. Generously, I will take them back in love, for my anger has turned away from them. I shall be to Israel like dew. He shall bloom like the lily. He shall strike root like the Lebanon cedar. His boughs will spread out far. His beauty will be like an olive tree's, his fragrance like that of Lebanon. Those who sit in his shade will be revived. They shall bring to life new grain. They will blossom like the vine. However lovingly held or hemmed in you feel this Shabbat, I hope renewal and restoration will be yours. For a connected and fruitful and sweet new year for each of us and all of us. L'Shana Tova and Shabbat Shalom. It is my delight to call up Ellen McCullen and Ellis Kruger to open our ARC doors. We turn to the bottom of 282 for Aleinu. Please rise. Aleinu l'shalayach Adonai Malko, Aseh Tfilah B'Yosef Bereshit, Shalom Aleinu Atzot, Elo Samanu K'mishpat HaRamah, Shalom Samanu K'mishpat Aleinu. Let the time not be distant, O God, when all shall turn to you in love, when corruption and evil shall give way to integrity and goodness, when superstitions shall no longer enslave the mind, nor idolatry blind the eye. O may all created in your image become one in spirit and one in friendship, forever united in your service. Then shall your realm be established on earth, and the word of your prophet fulfilled. Adonai will reign forever and ever. You may be seated. Our thoughts turn to those who have departed this earth, our own loved ones, those whom our friends and neighbors have lost, the martyrs of our people whose graves are unmarked, and those of every race and nation whose lives have been a blessing to humanity. As we remember them, we meditate on the meaning of love and loss, of life and death. Tonight, we are especially remembering the recent deaths of Yolanda Jimenez and Joseph Ohayon. In the last 30 days, we commemorate the death of Patricia Duffier. For those in their first year of mourning, we remember their loved ones: Daniel B. Stage, Sue Burkhammer, Eric Rosenberg, Jeffrey Foyer, Kevin Knox, Joanne Reimer, James Jim Alexander, Rivka Bat Avraham, Kurt Engelhart, Debbie Harmon, Jerry Zober, Laura Lazarus, Ron Darst, Robert Stearns, Sally Ann Castlerein, and Irene Fenton. And this week we commemorate the art sites of Kathy Gordon Firetag, Sol Friedman, Elizabeth Matlis, Joseph Boyarsky, Sidney Levy, Leona Burns, Arthur Goldberg, Carl Javinsky, Albert C. Merkin, Albert Neuberger, Janice C. Pendergraft, Julian A. Rutkovitz, Ben D. Schenker, Esther A. Goldwater, Samuel Greenblatt, Harry Kahn, Arlene Levinson, Meyer Zabulski, Esther Kaufman, Rabbi Abraham Feinberg, and Lillian Rutkovitz. If you are joining us online and you are in mourning tonight, please put your names in the chat so you can be held. If you are here in person and you would like to raise up a name, please do so as my eyes meet yours. Mourner's Cottage can be found on page 294. If it is your custom, please rise. Yitkedal v'yitkedash shemei rabbah, v'yalma divra chirutei v'yamlich malchutei, v'chayahon uvyamahon, uv'chayei dechol beit Israel, ba'agala uv'izman kariv v'yamru, amen. Yehei shmei rabbah mevarach le'olam u'almei almaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh. V'yithadar v'yithaleh v'yithalal shmed kudusha brihu. Leila min kol birchata v'shirata tushbechata v'nechemata da'amaran v'yalma v'yamru. Amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya v'chayim aleinu v'hakol Yisrael v'yamru. Amen. Oseh shalom b'mramav, huyaseh shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael v'emru. Amen. May the one who creates harmony on high bring peace to us and to all who mourn, to which we say, Amen. You may be seated. Tova McGilvray, would you like to come up and do a whole bunch of High Holy Week announcements?
I will do a whole bunch of
Thank you so much. Shana Tova and Shabbat Shalom. Thank you everyone for being here tonight. And I just want to do a special thank you to the Jewish Practice Committee. They sponsored the flowers for Rosh Hashanah, and it still smells like lilies in this room. I love it so much. Thank you so much to Laura and her husband Aaron for leading services tonight and greeting and just being here and giving the rabbis a break in this week. Thank you, Michael Gordon, for running our live stream. And thank you, as always, to Tracy and Crystal, who help us in the kitchen. Your Oneg this evening is sponsored by the challenge donor. So we have the ongoing Oneg challenge, which has been renewed for another year, if you didn't get that good news last year. Will we be doing the Yismazoom tonight, or is that going to work out with the... Yes, we'll be doing the Yismazoom. As obviously for those of you on internet land, we are in the social hall, so bear with us if it's a little different tonight. There will not be any Torah study tomorrow, but tomorrow, Saturday at 7:30 p.m., we'll be doing our Memorial Healing Havdalah. This is our memorial anniversary event for the terrorist attack of October 7th. We hope that you will please join us, and that will be in the small sanctuary. It is not too late to continue to submit your names for Yizkor. We ask that you please have that completed by Sunday, October 6th. If you are able to do so online, that is the preferred method for our temple administrator, but we do have cards in the back if it makes more sense for you to write them down. There will not be any Sinai school this Sunday. So instead, we'll see you for our Kever Avot memorial service at 2 p.m. on Sunday, which will be at the Hebrew Cemetery on Angel Street. This Friday, October 11th, is Erev Yom Kippur. We'll have our Kol Nidre service at 7:30 p.m. And then Yom Kippur morning service will begin on Saturday at 10 a.m. We'll have the Tot Yom Kippur service at 3 p.m. And then our afternoon services will begin at 4 p.m. And those will run all the way through Torah, Yizkor, Ne'ilah until we do break the fast. Our break the fast, we're going to be having a potluck meal here at the temple. Please do sign up to contribute to the potluck. This is just helping make sure that we have a little bit of everything and it all adds up to a complete meal. SinaiReno.org/break-the-fast is how you would sign up. And then on Sunday, October 13th, especially if you are strapping and able-bodied, we will be building the sukkah, and we would love to put your labor to use. If you feel that you would like some light-duty work, come a little bit later in the morning because we'll need help decorating the sukkah. So we do have projects for everybody. Sinai School will be back on that Sunday. And so if you're here helping with the sukkah, I hope that you'll pop in at 9:30 for our family service that we do that morning. It's usually part of Sinai School, but it's actually a very special musical service that you don't get to see all the time. So everybody's welcome for that. Off and running still with high holidays. Crafters Schmooze on Tuesday the 15th. Wednesday the 16th is the first night of Sukkot. So our sukkah, once it's set up, it is open to you throughout the entire holiday of Sukkot. So some nights we'll be doing events in there, but if you just want to come, have your lunch there during the day or bring your family in the evening and eat a meal, it is open to the public. So please feel free to use the sukkah. Friday the 18th will be our Sukkot celebration. So our Sukkot Shabbat. I'm trying to figure out how to say it. Say Sukkot Shabbat 5 times fast. So we'll be doing our Tot Shabbat 5:30 p.m. in the sukkah. At 6 o'clock, in between Tot Shabbat and Kabbalat Shabbat service, is when we're going to have our Sukkot potluck. So please come early for the potluck at 6 p.m. where we can all dine together. And then we will go into our 7:30 p.m. Kabbalat Shabbat. And that will be our Shabbat in the sukkah. On Sunday, October 20th, we said it was going to be a lot of announcements. Like we've been really trying to pack in some programming. Sunday, October 20th is going to be a super full day. I will see you here at the shul from like beginning to end. Sinai School with our weekday family service happens that Sunday. There's a library committee meeting at noon. At 1 p.m. is the next installment of our Who Knew program. So this is our kind of response to the desire for a little bit more entertaining secular lecture series. This time, October 20th, we will be interviewing Robert Dickens, who has been a Temple member his entire life, as he is one of the founding families of Temple Sinai, his parents were. And then 2:30 p.m. will be our monthly book club meeting, Novel Mashers. Tuesday, the 22nd, there is still time to sign up for our Interfaith Sukkot. So this was an extraordinary event last year. We've invited friends from all different faith gatherings, and we all come together to share a meal, and different clergy from the area will share the blessings and harvest traditions of their culture. It's going to be beautiful. Our sukkah can hold about 60 people, so we please do ask for you, encourage the RSVPs, because last year we packed it full. And rolling into Simchat Torah on Friday, October 25th. There are still more announcements yet to come, but I'm going to leave it there for tonight. I think that's enough for one reading. So thank you all so much for being here. If you have any questions about all of these or would like to pick up some schedules, we have all sorts of flyers in the back.
Thank you, Madam President.
Thank you.
I'm I'm going to add one more because I'm on the Bima and I can. So we've got this Friday, we've got Kol Nidre, we've got Shabbat Sukkot, we've got Simchat Torah, and then the next weekend, please join us for Spooky Sinai. If you've always wondered why we don't have a Halloween tradition, we're making one. It's going to be at the rabbi's house, so please sign up online so you can get their address and their gate code and all of that. You're welcome to bring a story that you found on your own. If you don't want to do the legwork, we have a great selection in this room right now, and I'm happy to help you find one. We just want to get together and do some casual storytelling with friends and celebrate the weird, wacky, wonderful world of Jewish ghosts and dybbaks and golems and everything else. So I think it's going to be a really good time. Ask me questions if you have them. Okay, that's November 2nd. All right, we will close with Dror Yikra on page 334. Dror Yikra leveinim bat le'en sorchem kevolat ne'im shimchem ve'lo yushbat shevu b'nuchu be'yom Shabbat Terosh Navi Le'olami Le'ot Yisha Seimi Netasore Betokani Sheishamat B'nei Ami Yai Rai Rai Yarai Rai Rai Yarai Rai Shabbat Shalom. If you're here with us in person, please join us in the small social hall.